against injustice. That boldness, that courage is needed more and more today. And we hope as we remember and honor President Mandela, we recall his words, "It is in your hands." So what do we as the Foundation call on all of us to do today? On this day, Nelson Mandela International Day, our call to all of you is to remember to make good trouble. This call is inspired by the man himself. While we all refer to President Mandela by his first name, his given first name, Nelson, the name that he was actually given at birth was Kgolihlahla. In isiXhosa, which was Mandela's mother tongue, and which is one of the main languages of our country, South Africa, the colloquial meaning of Kgolihlahla is troublemaker. In true isiXhosa, it is shake the tree. Mandela was a troublemaker, the kind of good troublemaker that we need more of in the world today, and the kind that we will continue to need well into the future. The kind of troublemaker that some people did not always love because he pushed for an equality that we all should enjoy and for the overcoming of a system of oppression which was convenient and profitable to some. A system of oppression that was defeated in South Africa eventually, but which has yet to be eradicated globally. The foundation, which I now chair, often gets asked what Mandela would say or do on certain issues if he were alive today. We often ask this question of ourselves. In the context of my call here today, the question does arise: what kind of world would he be prepared to make good trouble for? Drawing on his life and work and his many personal reflections, we believe that it would be a just world, a world where justice does not kneel to the rich and powerful, where our collective upliftment takes precedence over individual privilege, where the benefits and burdens of our society are equally shared, where our privilege and personal biases do not sway us from being just, and where our like or dislike of someone does not hinder us from doing what is right in relation to them. President Mandela was a fierce man on matters of justice, but I don't recall one occasion where he was disrespectful or rude to another person. So this world where justice is respected and upheld is the kind of world that we are asking you to make good trouble for. Now, some may ask, as you sit here, that I'm an accountant, I am just a teacher, I am just a manager. What does making good trouble look like for me? While it can take on individual manifestations, let me suggest how we can bring it to life and give expression to it in our everyday lives. Firstly, making good trouble means being really excellent at what you do. You should have the knowledge that doing very well on your responsibilities contributes toward collective upliftment, regardless of whether people are watching or not, and regardless of the magnitude of the action. What we refer to sometimes as the ordinary has its own significance, and when done to the best of one's ability, this can make a positive impact on the lives of others and contribute toward better processes, systems, and institutional functioning. Second, making good trouble means always asking oneself the question as you go through life, how do I make change in the space that I'm in? Because it's incredible that we can be in significant spaces and achieve absolutely nothing. So how do I use my space to make a difference, and showing up to what that question reveals. These are the things that Nelson Mandela did. He aimed to be excellent in the things that he did, and he showed up to the question of how he could make change in the space that he was in with his whole self and not just a part of himself. The two awardees of this year's United Nations Nelson Mandela Prize, Brenda Reynolds and Kennedy Odede, offer us further examples of people who are energetic in their pursuit of good trouble. Last night, we launched a really important exhibition for us right here at the UN. The exhibition is entitled Our Shared Humanity in Action. It focuses on the important role that the UN Special Committee Against Apartheid played in combating apartheid in South Africa. The committee was established by your body, the UN General Assembly, in 1962, and its work over the decades of its existence demonstrates what can be done when people come together to make good trouble for global equity. The committee demonstrated what can be done when diplomats come together, rise to the occasion, and dedicate themselves to the upliftment of people in need, out of the recognition that while they may not be their fellow national citizens, they are their fellow human beings. What brought freedom to South Africa was good trouble. And while making good trouble for global equity requires many things at this current juncture in our geopolitical domain, one of the things that is needed now is for us to contribute to building a stronger, reformed, and capable United Nations. As the foundation, we believe the UN must remain the premier multilateral body of our globe, and that we should support it to execute its very significant mandate. We need to democratize its structures. We need to have it more efficient. We need the Security Council to do the job it was established for, but we must maintain the UN. This must happen for the sake of the global community, and we must have change for the credibility of this organization. So as we celebrate 80 years of the UN, let us think about and build better for the next 80 years. When President Mandela came to the United Nations for the first time, he said that while the UN was in session, people would come up to him and shake hands with him, and that he could not bring himself, due to his good manners, to shake hands with people while seated. So he would instinctively get up as ambassadors approached him and shake hands with them. This, however, was not to the liking of his delegation, who told him, "Mr. President, you are disturbing the conference." And they asked him to leave and go back to his hotel, which, being Mandela, he did. I'm also reminded of the kind of heaviness with which he first came to the UN, given the challenges of South Africa's transition to democracy and the legacy he inherited. One can imagine, as he was negotiating, the weight on his shoulders as he spoke to colleagues in this chamber, but also the kind of reprieve he might have felt in the presence of so many country representatives committed to international solidarity and to support for a free South Africa. So let us too feel a reprieve in the company of all of us gathered here today. But let us leave here reminded of the work that each of us is called to contribute to. I trust that the memory of Nelson Mandela will keep inspiring all of us to do the work of transformation and to never give up on his dream of a just society and a just world. I will end my contribution this morning in the same way that President Mandela concluded his speech in 1990 when he addressed that special committee against apartheid in this very room. He said, "We also take this opportunity to extend warm greetings to all others who fight for their liberation and for their human rights, including the peoples of Palestine and Western Sahara. We commend their struggles to you, convinced that we are all moved by the fact that freedom is indivisible, convinced that the denial of the rights of one diminishes the freedom of others. I thank you once again for allowing me the opportunity to address you, particularly you, Mr. President and Secretary General. I wish all of you leave this room determined to make good trouble. Thank you very much.
I thank the chair of the Nelson Mandela Foundation. We will now proceed to the Nelson Mandela Prize Award ceremony for our two laureates.